All right, welcome to another edition of Dan and Jack talking congressional districts. In this edition, number 12, we have Maine's second congressional district featuring Democrat incumbent Jared Golden versus Bruce Poliquin, who formerly held the seat and is running for it again. Jack, do you want to tell us a little bit about this district?
Yeah, this race is the tale of two congressmen, and the backdrop is the largest congressional district east of the Mississippi. The old second encompassed roughly 80% of Maine's landmass, and that has not changed much in the new map. Um, it's a heavily forested area. It is Maine, basically. It covers just about all of Maine. So it has beaches, it's got forests, it's got all of Maine's wonder and glory.
It borders
Um,
Canada.
yes, it does border Canada, so I guess that's a little bit of a disadvantage, but um, but, but I don't know. Do you want to talk about Bruce Poliquin a little bit?
Yeah. So Bruce was referred to in many articles as an endangered species of sorts. Is the only U.S. GOP member of the U.S. House from New England for quite a while. But unfortunately, that species has been extinct since 2018 when he lost to Jared Golden in the nation's first experiment, actually, in ranked choice voting. So he was ahead on the initial tallies, but then when they factored in Jared Golden as people's second choice, he then fell behind because there's some sort of weighted system how they calculate that.
Yeah, what do
Um,
you think of ranked choice voting, Dan?
I haven't given it enough real thought, but it sounds like kind of another scam to
Yeah,
get Republicans losing in areas where we should win. So um, I'm going to take the Chesterton's fence approach to that and say that like you need a real sufficient reason to change what we're doing to change what we're doing.
yeah, I kind of agree. Um, but on the hopeful side of this, with the advances in modern GOP chances and a dash of out of control inflation, the extinct Poliquin may be able to confidently prowl the wilds and woods of Maine once again as a congressman. So maybe he can not be the dodo bird. Maybe he can actually come back.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's an old bird, but he might be an alive bird again. And he's no stranger to
Do you want?
politics either. I mean, he was a member of Congress for from 2015 to 2019, and he was the state's treasurer before that. Um, he's a businessman. He's got 35 years as a job creator. Sounds like he's mostly in the financial world in that front. Spent his whole life in New England with all that that entails, going to Phillips Academy, which wonder if he met Katie Porter there as a boy, uh, and then Harvard for a degree in economics, or I should say Harvard, because
Yeah.
got to tack on the New England accent there. Although, like he went to some of these high end places. When you listen to him, he hasn't really lost his touch. He does sound like a regular guy you'd see at a bar, um, which has its advantages and its disadvantages in the debate that we'll probably talk about. He was probably a little too aggressive with Golden when he was calling him out. He kept repeating that he was a socialist, radical young socialist. This guy's a radical young socialist. So, I mean, it probably wasn't his finest hour.
No, and that often comes off as like you're an old, out of touch Republican that just uses the
Yeah.
standard lines.
I mean, Trump, as we I think we watched that debate. We were in the same room. We were watching it.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. His first debate with Biden
Yeah,
was a
yeah, yeah. We
disaster
did.
because he was too aggressive. And when you're aggressive on things that people are sympathetic to, like he was bringing up the Hunter Biden thing and Biden's dead kids, like, ugh, like,
Yeah, not
bro,
good.
yeah, no, I mean, I mean, yeah, you're right about Hunter, but like, there's a time and a place, guy. Like, reel it in. Uh, but yeah. So in response in that debate, Golden came off as more measured and in control, despite whether or not he is a radical. If I mean the thing in politics, as we've said before in these videos, is to seem. So if the voters think you are something, then for their purposes, you are that something. And if you don't seem radical, they won't think you're a radical. So, and it really didn't match with Golden's background. So Golden, you want to tell us a little bit about Golden, Jack?
Yeah, so Jared Golden actually has quite the background. Before landing in Congress, he served 4 years in the Maine legislature and as Democratic whip. But before that, he worked for Senator Susan Collins, who's a Republican, and served as a Marine in Iraq and Afghanistan. He enlisted just months after 9/11 and was part of the failed attempt in 2004 to capture Osama bin Laden. Golden is definitely much more measured in his speech than Poliquin. Like we said, he came off more measured in that debate against him. But that does have its positives and negatives, because you can sound more disciplined, but then you could also sound too practiced too. So it's got its goods and its bads. As far as his voting record, though, he's voted with Biden 85.7% of the time, which is high, but it's on the lower side among the Democrats we've examined. He does, however, have a 100% pro-abortion rating from, what is it, NARAL?
Yeah, NARAL. Yeah, as is tradition. If you're going to be a Democrat, you got to be 100% pro-abortion. Usually.
Yeah, which is sad. But and as Poliquin emphasized with gusto in their debate, he has a D rating from the NRA and an F rating from the Sportsman Association. Golden is in favor of felons voting while in prison, as well as being against criminal background checks for gun owners. He voted against Pelosi for Speaker instead of voting. Instead he voted for Democrat Cherry Bustos from Illinois. And Poliquin has attacked Golden for raising sales and income taxes while in the Maine legislature.
So in an odd turn of events, Jared Golden outpolled Trump in the district in 2020, although he did outspend his opponent 4-1 in that race. Usually Democrats in 2020 were, the Congressional Democrats were underperforming Trump in the districts, and the Republicans were doing better. So that's an odd turn of events, but it's an odd district also, and Maine is kind of an odd state.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about the money side of the coin, Jack?
Yeah, so on the finances side and their fundraising, the candidates are in very near parity with one another. Bruce Poliquin leads slightly at 2.3 million, but it's 311,000 to Golden's 2.3, but it's 307,000.
Yeah, which is really surprising. I mean, I don't know if we've seen a race that is that exactly matched in terms of finances in the 15 or so we've examined so far. I mean, kudos to Bruce Poliquin, which, I mean, he's got the contacts. I mean, he's been in Congress before, so he knows how this is done. So it should be a good race on that side of things.
Yeah.
Real Clear Politics has this district as a toss-up. Fox News actually lists it as leans Republican, which is interesting. The Almanac of American Politics had the old district, which is only slightly different, as an R+6. So the fact that Jared Golden has won this thing twice now is kind of surprising. On Nate Silver's 538, Bruce Poliquin wins in 36 out of 100 statistical models, and Golden wins in 64 out of 100. So that's interesting as well. As we've said in other videos, though, the generic ballot Republicans have been gaining in the last week quite considerably. So I would expect some of those models to change in favor of Republicans in the next couple weeks. Really, though, what are your final thoughts on the race, Jack?
Yeah, well, Bruce Poliquin is a veteran candidate that has suffered the swings of political life. He should know what it takes to win back his seat. Although Golden certainly isn't an opponent to take lightly, as experience isn't insignificant either. I mean, he won in a Republican district twice now.
Yeah.
The demography of this district certainly suggests Poliquin can win, but if Maine is anything, it is unorthodox and unpredictable, as we mentioned before.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Golden has some experience points in his favor. I mean, not only the biographical stuff, but being the Democrat whip, that's a job that really gets you exposed to the nuts and bolts of politics and voting and legislating, and will teach him every trick in the book, really. And Bruce has got kind of a thug quality to him too. I mean, I think Bruce is probably far more appealing at the retail politics level, wouldn't you say, Jack?
Yes, I would definitely agree.
Yeah, I mean, the who you'd like to have a beer with battle, I think Bruce wins in a
Yeah,
walk. Although Golden might have some good stories at the bar with his time in Iraq, but
true.
I don't know. But anyway, definitely a winnable seat, I think. But I think that does it for us. But thank you for listening, and look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you again, and God bless.